Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Power Blade 2. In the last part, we went through the middle two stages of the game, so to speak, even though you can take on the first four in any given order. And now we're on to the endgame levels, starting with level 5. You can only access this level after beating the first four, and level 6 only unlocks after beating this level. With that said, level 5, I think, is longer than any of the first four stages off the top of my head, but I wouldn't say it's inherently harder. There are some annoying sections in it, such as this section where the bottom of the screen is constantly scrolling up, meaning it is now a bottomless pit down there, and you need to rely on these moving platforms. With that said, because they're not smooth movements, they instead move more like snake blocks from Mario. You need to make sure you're not standing on the far left of it or far right should it be moving left at any point, otherwise you're just gonna fall straight down. Otherwise, this isn't too dangerous. Thankfully, they don't try to place any jetpack enemies to try and blindside you on the way over, either, because I know certain games would do that. Hell, Mega Man would do that, and I love that series, and I don't like that it would do that. With that said, this stage kind of stands out from the others in one regard, in that it and Stage 6, but namely this one, are the only stages in the main game that have actual cutscenes in them. All the others have the "we better get out of here" cutscene when you beat the boss, of course, but like this has an actual mid-stage cutscene, and it really stands out. It makes me wonder if at some point earlier in development they were all supposed to have some sort of ongoing plot or something like that. But it's pointless, I feel, to conjecture about that without any kind of like post-mortem about the game, considering how little I'd had working on it. Jacqueline, thank goodness you're okay. Something terrible is happening here. I discovered the true identity of the president of the Delta Foundation. Is an alien from outer space. Okay, run-on sentence. He is now spreading his troops all around, preparing to invade the Earth. The offer he made to the government was meant to raise funds to carry out his plan of invasion. We must exterminate the Delta Foundation. Immediately. Otherwise our days will be numbered. You'd better get out of here and leave the rest to me. I mean, technically speaking, aren't all of our days numbered? And this is where I do some really dark joke, but no, I mean literally, like today's day 3897. I feel like that would make me only like 10 years old, so that's technically inaccurate. It's more than double that at this point. I don't like this. We have actual snake blocks. I think, did these show up earlier? I actually can't remember because the stages kind of blend together in my head in this game. And the thing is about snake blocks in this game is they work weirdly. As I mentioned with the blocks in the earlier part of the stage, they move on a block-per-block basis, so if you're standing on the far end, you're probably going to fall off, but also, if you're standing on them while it's rising, the collision just doesn't seem to work right, and as you saw there, you can even clip through them. These are ambitious for what they're trying to do here. They don't quite work, and you need to make sure you're on the right one, otherwise you're just going to straight-up die, and that's no good. Now, in between parts, I actually tried to see if I could dig up any more about this game's development, and there's not much to be found, but I did find something about some of the staff. Namely, for right now at least, Toshikazu Iwaza was one of the main programmers on this game and the first Power Blade. And he's got some scattered credits, namely Mega Man Legacy Collection 2, he was a producer, same with Mobile Suit Gundam Seed Battle Assault. He was apparently a design manager for Final Fantasy IV Complete Collection on PSP. And beyond that, for programming, it's super scattered. Power Rangers Time Force on PlayStation 1, I think. Big Mountain 2000, Tetris Plus, Mark Davis's The Fishing Master, both Power Blades, and Power Blazer, which was just Power Blade 1 in Japan. For a second, I thought I almost forgot that wasn't the game on Super Nintendo. That was part of the Quintet trilogy. No, that was Soul Blazer. And he had special thanks and Croc to Saban's Power Rangers, Lightspeed Rescue, and Big Mountain 2000. Clearly, a man of many talents. This is just one of those games where there's not much out about it. Despite that, it's one of the rarer NES games to come by from what I'm aware in terms of like actual pricing. Because if you like to look online, this is one of those games that even like loose cartridge alone is like over $400, depending on where you look. Manual is like $90 on its own. It's one of those NES games. I think even the box alone is like $400 or something like that. If you're looking for a complete in-box, first off, why? Secondly, who's hurting you? Thirdly, it's almost $1,000. It's... I know people talk about preventative pricing and all that. This is why I'm completely fine with emulating basically every LP I do if I can't get like a virtual console re-release of something, because it's just so ridiculously overpriced. Either way, boss fight is very easy if you use the Patriot Suit, because it just floats around, tries to land on you, and shoots projectiles. And the Patriot Suit's orbs take care of the projectiles, so it's very easy to do that fight without getting hit. Oops, the floor collapsed and a passageway appeared underneath. And suddenly we're in Castlevania 1 Stage 3? Or was that Stage 4? With that said, welcome to the final level, Level 6. If you look down at the number of areas down below, this is without a doubt the longest stage in the game at 13 areas, technically 14, counting the intro cutscene to it. And you might notice how large our timer is for the stage as well. There's a reason for that, trust me. Probably the most standalone mechanic for this is that they use every mechanic from the game. Now that I think about it, just about. So we got the quicksand here you want to jump through, although you're going to want to make sure you're always firing your boomerangs during this, because if it's not things dropping from the sky, it's these weird bugs coming diagonally at you from either above or below. And when they come from below, it's especially sneaky because you have no way of seeing them coming due to sprite layering stuff. This, I wouldn't say, is a super hard final level, at least given the rest of the game's difficulty curve. Its difficulty lies in its length. If you're not dying to the timer, you're dying to just taking a lot of dumb hits along the way. And if you run out of lives, you're back to the start of it. My best advice is to take your time, but don't take too much time. And the weird little tentacle things, they can only be damaged on the red head that they have. But you need to be careful, because otherwise, you can just run right into them. If you're not dying to just losing a lot of HP over time, though, it's the block sections. Well, the section, but it feels about twice as long, because these blocks love to go vertical just to waste some time on you, where you have to jump back and forth and all that. This is super annoying. On my first playthrough of the game, I think I died more on this screen than anywhere else, because if I wasn't having control problems with jumping through the blocks, I was just having trouble seeing where they were going, predicting where they were going to go, and admittedly getting a little hasty because I was trying to jump onto them beforehand. Not to mention, if you're running low on energy, enemies can drop health here, and they'll fly at you sometimes, but good luck grabbing it, because it's probably going to drop in the bottomless pit. Some people would recommend using, for instance, your rocket suit through all this, but I want to preserve my batteries. Even though, looking back at this point, I have more than enough batteries to last me basically the entire stage. I'm just... this is admittedly a mindset I get into when recording. I get a lot more conservative with my resources while I'm recording, because I want to make sure I save them in case I need them later on. So in the case, for instance, I'm doing a Resident Evil recording, even though that hasn't happened in a while at this point. Using too much ammo on a boss fight in like a Mega Man game, Silent Hill game, even though I haven't gotten to those yet, or Resident Evil, I might honestly reload my most recent save and redo that entire section. And that's not good, because if I get too perfectionist about things, I'll just never get anything done, and that's no good. Not to mention, I'm having similar problems with recording stuff recently, namely making sure everything is as high quality as I can make it, without getting too ridiculous for my hard drive space for what I have. Don't get too neurotic about that kind of stuff, folks. Sometimes it gets stuck in you. At least I have a channel I can blame for getting that stuff stuck in my head that might start with a G and end in a TS. That was created around the same year another Boots-themed channel started. And if somehow one of them ends up watching this, you know what you did. Also, for some reason, the world takes the level rather takes on less of an organic approach later on and becomes more, I want to say, Dr. Mario for some reason. And then it says no. this level in one way is kind of cool in that it reuses a lot of the ideas from the main levels and kind of tries to make it be a culmination sort of attack. But I feel like it just falls flat in certain regards. And I feel like that's almost the best way to describe the game in certain regards as well. By the way, you can get this by using the Newt suit in a very specific way that I haven't shown off, because you can use it to climb into one-tile vents like that. Which, but the way they want you to use that is maybe jump onto a lower part of a platform and climb up to the actual part you're supposed to be on, maybe to make some riskier jumps. But if you want to use it like this, I think this is the only time the game does this. You could have used that earlier, maybe made the suits that aren't like the rocket or wetsuit more rewarding to use in the long run inside of boss fights. Although, again, that could just be my gameplay style, because I want to save the suits for the boss fights. That just is ingrained in my head, and I know exactly why it is. Mega Man. Because I've always been the kind of Mega Man player to, unless it's absolutely needed or I have more than enough ammo, save at least the special weapon of the weakness of the boss fight for the boss fight, at least until the castles, in which case I save everything stupidly. I've gotten a bit more out of that as time's gone, though. I think I did that a bit in Mega Man 11. I think. Maybe I just used Impact Man and Torch Man's ability. Also, that platform right there in the middle, going onto the right-hand yellow-orange platform, is surprisingly tricky. You might think you have to jump, but if you jump, you'll land right in the ceiling spikes and die in one hit. You have to pull a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles there, to reference a certain old AVGN episode. You just need to walk. And that throws me the hell off. I don't know why it does. It just does. But that said, we're coming up on the end of the stage, and the reason that this stage's timer is so needlessly long is that it has a boss rush. Every single one of the first 5 bosses, again before the final boss. Oh boy, it's the usual time. Hit the music. I honestly can't tell at this point if video games just can't escape using boss rushes or I just can't escape them. So at last, you've come this far. Alright, final boss can be dealt with the same way as the previous boss. Use the Patriot Suit, and the orbs will take care of basically every projectile it throws out. With that said, he throws a projectile at the mud, which causes it to solidify for a bit, and I think that's supposed to get you stuck in it so you can't move. But as long as you keep jumping, he doesn't stand much of a threat. I'd argue he's one of the easiest bosses in the game. I think both the last stage boss fights are easier, easier than the first 4 boss fights, honestly. Let's torch this place and get away. Mankind has been saved by this man again. However, his achievements will never be known to the general public. He is an SP and is not even supposed to exist in our society. No, thank you, Power Blade? Also, strangely not the only game I played that ends with a version of Silent Night. Either way, that's Power Blade 2. I think in certain regards it's superior to Power Blade 1. Sorry, I kicked my mic there. And on others, I think it's a lot worse. Because, yeah, it lost out on that unique factor by having the sort of Mega Man-like stage select stuff and the less linear levels. But I feel the more linear levels allow them to focus their mechanics a lot more. But at the same time, I feel there's just better NES action platformers. Music's still okay, though. And if you want to play it, it is on the NES. I don't think it ever got any re-releases on Virtual Console. So if you want to play it, you're going to either shell out some cash for a cartridge or emulate it. I think it's worth at least a playthrough if you like these kind of games. Otherwise, it's just sort of there. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great night. Take care. And I'll see you guys next Let's Play, whatever that may be. I already forgot this was technically a Christmas game. See you guys then.